Good evening and welcome to the Press Club. It's the Independence weekend, and of course, independence dominates the newspapers today and probably will dominate our discussion here this evening. The Mirror newspaper, Bon Fête St. Lucia, or St. Lucie, I guess it should have been. St. Lucia celebrates 37th anniversary of independence. The Nationwide newspaper celebrating nationhood with pride and restored confidence. There are also independence supplements in both the Voice and the Star newspaper. The Star newspaper headlines, the exception here as far as independence. For too many young people in crisis, ISIS is the answer. And the Voice newspaper, French snub, no participation in Independence Parade on Monday. And St. Lucia to announce first knighthoods, the Voice newspaper. Independence.
Well, happy 37th anniversary.
we can start with the Voice editorial, perhaps, which looks at the whole theme of independence and I guess reflects on what we've achieved so far. And that's been, I think that has dominated a lot of the coverage, from street vibes to mainstream news stories. You know, what have we to celebrate this 37th anniversary of independence? You know, we started the independence celebrations with a formal launch by the government that saw the cabinet secretary asking the question, as we go through these celebrations, reflect on what it truly means to be St. Lucian. What do we have to be proud of as we celebrate or engage in these activities? Is it just a holiday for some, a good time for others? You know, as much as we see the national flag being flown and worn, you know, does it mean more than that to anybody?
It should. I think one of the things we need to be able to do is to face, address, and accept uncomfortable truths.
Mm-hmm.
And we can say that what we have been doing these last 36 years, and for the 37th time, is celebrating, observing the fact that we have our own flag, our own coat of arms, we're a sovereign nation. The theory of independence, in some instances the form in terms of the colors, identifying with the colors. I tend to agree with those who say that we have nothing to celebrate from the standpoint that what are we going to celebrate? Nations who celebrate independence, nations that fought for independence, celebrate those battles, the causes, the road to independence, the journey to independence. In our case, where independence was mired in political partisan controversy, where it was given to us after we had to negotiate it, after we were given a constitution, the whole way in which we became independent did not therefore leave room for us to be proud of being independent. For Christ's sakes, our Independence Day was not a national holiday for several years, while we observed up until now a day that has no historical significance and call it National Day. So I think that one of the interesting things that can be done is to take our 37th anniversary and to make a new national pledge, which is that between now and our 40th anniversary, we would do all that we can over those 3 years to engage in this sort of public discussion and debate year-round, not just at independence time.
Right.
Because, you know, the rapidity with which we have holidays, we move from Christmas to New Year to Nobel Laureate Week, and independence comes into play only after Nobel Laureates Week. I think like with Carnival, jazz, Creole, and all of these national festivities, we tend to just celebrate and have a good time. And we don't engage in the necessary review immediately after to start to plan for the next one. So Carnival, we start planning Carnival after January. You know, we start planning. What I'm indeed trying to say here is that really we need to begin to take those steps to allow St. Lucians to get a total overhaul in terms of our appreciation of what independence means to us. From the standpoint that today, as we always see, 66.6%, 2/3 of our population were born after 1979, and therefore the vast majority of St. Lucians don't know anything about Independence Day, didn't see it, and therefore can only relate to what they hear those of us who were there saying, or what is written.
But does it even matter if what you're saying is true from the beginning? Well, not if it's true. In terms of the process leading to independence, that we have nothing to be proud of, really.
Well,
but in terms of what,
our history.
right? But in terms of what we have accomplished since then, I think, if I'm getting it right, you're talking about a reset of the minds of.
Yes, in terms of what do we call accomplishments? What do we call accomplishments? Have we matured as a nation? We're 37 years old. Have we matured as a nation? In the measurement of lives of nations, 36 years is childhood.
And how do you gauge that? Because according to the Voice editorial this morning, it talks about some of the economic struggles that the island and others in the region are going through, but then it goes down to talk about staggering breeding, unconsiderable decay, poverty, unemployment, crime, drug, alcohol abuse, expensive and inadequate healthcare, etc. But if we cannot achieve simple things like the cleanliness of our environment, the removal of vagrants from our streets, some of whom sleep on the pavement of our most frequently entered buildings in broad daylight in our capital, we cannot keep unhealthy looking animals from roaming our streets and mixing with tourists, how then can we expect to confront the more serious issues?
I don't share that deep degree of pessimism. Governments and people cannot be blamed for what has just been described. If the Voice or anybody who wants to argue that we cannot describe ourselves as independent, if we cannot, keep ourselves clean and stop making noise and living like decent people, I guess, then the argument there seems to be for total radical transformation of the society. In which case now I would say let us start discussing, can St. Lucia survive as an independent nation? Can we survive independently in a world that is today described as a global village? The interconnection between states. We understand that the French, according to the Voice, the French are boycotting independence here this year over the impacts report. Allegedly, yes, the Voice understands. That the French are boycotting because of the impacts report as a reflection of European Union concern. If that is true, then France would be representing all of the 20-something members of the EU, including the UK. Okay, so how can we be independent in that situation? What does our independence mean to us if a judge in London can tell us we appoint the wrong person in the wrong way because the person whom we have appointed, they have a problem with him? How much is our independence and sovereignty when, as a result of the impacts report, the United States is going to take sanctions against us in a situation that could well be described as us being treated as guilty before even facing the court? So I would argue that in that situation, when I talk about discussing independence between now and our 40th anniversary, would be to have a total continuous over those 3 years regular public discussion and debate generated especially by the media in terms of the survivability of St. Lucia as an independent country. How much does our independence mean to us in today's world? How much is independence valuable to us in a situation where our passports are on sale, are available to the highest bidder? These are the issues, and should we, as a result of what the Voice is describing, should we as small failed states, should we now, as a collection of small failed states in the OECS and CARICOM, should we now need to revisit the Treaty of Chaguaramas, revisit the Treaty of Baste, with a view to taking CARICOM to that next stage where it is not just a collection of independent states, but a unified regional territory which comprises several national states? And in that situation, how does an independent national state exist within a general body that has to be regional and cooperative if it has to survive? That's the kind of independence debate we need.
Let's talk a little more about that when we come back. With you for a break, you're watching The Press Club. We'll be right back.